The data center industry is moving faster than ever, and behind the scenes, some seriously smart people are making it all happen. Welcome to the Inside Data Center podcast, where we dive into the stories, insights, and innovations driving real change across the industry. From hyperscale campuses to game-changing technologies, we're talking to the people shaping the future of digital infrastructure. Whether you live and breathe data centers or just want to understand what's powering our connected world, you're in the right place.
Welcome to the Inside Data Center podcast. We're back on the terrace, the Global Commissioning Networking Terrace, as we've been told to say, in Cannes. Really looking forward to this episode because we have already talked. This is our episode 5, I think we've recorded, 4 or 5. Like communities coming up on every single conversation. Everyone you speak to is talking about the challenges around community. So I really want to dig into that one. Delighted to be joined by Ilker from Bulk and Wes from Applied Digital. We'll let you guys introduce yourselves. So Ilker, do you want to start?
Thanks for the invite, Andy. So Ilker Esener. So I'm leading design and procurement for bulk infrastructure, based out of Norway.
Wes Cummins, thanks for having me. I'm founder, CEO of Applied Digital. We build large-scale infrastructure in the U.S.
Your marketing's brilliant as well, as I always say. Like the docu-series, it's out now.
Yeah. So I'll give the plug. People should watch it. It's called Behind the Build. We've released 2 episodes, kind of a Netflix-style, documentary on no glossing over what actually happens. You can see what happens in these communities, these small towns, as we go to build a big infrastructure project. Yes. So highly recommend.
No, 100%. And it's exactly what the industry needs. That's why I wanted to plug it myself as well. But community, it comes up in every conversation now. Like when you're developing or you're entering a region, is it now a key factor in your development? So when you're looking to build in a region, is community like at the heart of what this industry does now? Ilker?
Yeah, no, 100%. And look, I was lucky enough to spend my whole career on data center builds. Started in US, worked with big companies, and when I see the change from 20 years ago when I started and today, it's absolutely a big factor right now. So I mean, if you don't show that you're returning the favor to the community, creating that circular economy, and I don't think you can build a sustainable business. So especially constraints around resources. I mean, starting with with energy or water. I mean, these communities really looking for the return of the resources that we're using there. So and unfortunately, data centers, they're not other industries, right? So we don't create thousands of jobs once we build our buildings. But I think there are so many different ways to show the value, right? So either community outreach or creating opportunities, job opportunities locally. I'm on the development side, not on the operations side, but you can just, establish your strategy in a way that the local community really benefits from, years of development. So even though you bring your international supply chain, I think there's so many ways to show the value to the local community. And once you hit that, and I think you get the support, behind you, and then you can build a sustainable business in that locality. So.
Yeah, Wes, I know you've done some cool stuff in North Dakota from a community perspective, which has really shaped that community to become part of the development.
Yeah. So for us, it's obviously you need to know what you're doing from a data center build perspective. So we, the first for us was figuring this industry out. It was brand new. It's been brand new for everyone, not data center, but large scale, high power density. So we put all the people in place to figure that part of it out. But then the way we approach the market is, where did these fit best? And we're looking for power. And then kind of my background, which gives me a huge amount of pride in what we do. So I grew up in a small town that was 200 people. I grew up on a potato farm in Idaho. So it's really stereotypical actually. But, I watched what happened to the community I grew up in. And what happened is, family farming has largely disappeared, at least in the U.S., but in a lot of places. And so these communities get pretty decimated from what they used to be. So it goes to commercial farming, a lot fewer people, a lot more automation. And so these communities have just been slowly dying for decades. And So we're able to find the ones that, have the ingredients that we need, but we go to these communities that really need some economic boost. And it's not just can we enhance the community a little bit, it's a complete game change for that community. So we're in Ellendale, North Dakota is 1,100 people. We're in Harwood, North Dakota, it's 800 people. Now we're in Louisiana. We're in Boyce, Louisiana, 600 people. We're in another town in North Dakota. It's 600 or 400 people. And then, so what we bring is really community first. And so we come in and we build. You're going to really enhance the tax base for them. So we were able to walk in and say, how does, hundreds of millions of dollars in tax and economic, production sound over a 20 or 25-year period? It's amazing for these communities. They get to fix their fresh water. They get to fix their sewer. They get to fix their roads. Would you like to have the wealthiest school district in the state almost overnight, right? And then the things that really hit home is we bring high-paying technical jobs and we train locally for those. So we can get 80% of the workforce. And to your point earlier, the bad rap for data centers is that we don't create enough jobs. But when you're dealing with a community this size, we create just the right amount. They don't want 10,000 jobs, right? They live in this small community because they want it to stay small, but they want it to be small and prosperous. So we bring just the right amount. If we can bring 200 or 300 jobs, and it's that town, and then it's a commuting area, right? So people are used to driving 45 minutes, and they'll live in another small town nearby, and so it lifts the whole area up dramatically. And the thing that really hits home for people, and what's great is, it's not just a story for us. We're telling the story of what's already happened because we've done this. And we have lowered electricity bills for people in the area we've been operating for about 4 years now. We've lowered the electricity bill by about $38 million for the ratepayers over that time. How do you lower the electricity bill? There was already excess power. And then we utilize the infrastructure more. We pay the utility. The utility makes more money. They have to give it back. That's just the utility model where we're operating. And so we save people on electricity. We pioneered closed loop liquid cooling. Why? Because I can use a lot of energy and electricity that exists in a farming community, but they're not going to let me use the water, right? Like that's their lifeblood is water. So we basically said, look, we can't use the water. So we don't use water. We use the same amount as a house would use. Then we create jobs, but it's better than jobs. We create a place where people can have a career. They can advance. These are not just like, hey, you got a job at a food processing plant because you're doing agriculture and this is where you're kind of stuck, but at least it pays the best, right? No, we create a career that people can advance. They're proud of their job. And what we've seen is people that grew up in these small towns and they moved away because there was no job. They went to university, they moved and, got a job in Denver or some other city. We've had people that are moving back. They bring their kids back. They get to raise their kids in the same town. And then, what really resonates is what they see for the future is not only do they get to raise their kids there, but as they grow and mature in this community, they have an opportunity for their kids to get jobs in that community and their grandkids to be near them and everyone to grow up in the same area. So it's a complete change for the fortunes of that community from where it was to what is the future now. And there's no opportunity like this for them. And it's the leading edge of technology. So when I grew up, like our community was like the last to get the internet, right? I would go to my parents' house after I graduated college. I've been working a job. I go out and still log into their AOL dial-up account in 2015, right? So we're like the last to get it. This is the first leading edge of technology created in these communities. It's really a boost. And then what that does is we do a good job. We get to do it again in another community. And then I get people to write letters to me and I have them show up at my office that are begging me to come to their community to do the same thing. And I think this is where the future is in the data center industry, right? Does the community in Dallas, Texas want, a 100th data center? No. Does Northern Virginia want a 500th data center? No. They don't want this, but these towns where it really creates something completely different and a future for them and a future for their kids and a future for their grandkids. Like they get it and they want this infrastructure there and they understand the benefits. And so they're welcoming. And then we have a partnership, right? And we really work hard to be good partners, hear what the problems are that we create. We create some problems, there's no doubt, especially in construction. But as it operates, it's a pretty smooth operation, it creates the right amount of jobs. It's really as you can tell, I think it's a big point of pride for me that we're able to do this in these locations, and then we get welcomed into more. And that's the model of our company. Not only do we know how to do these things, but we create this partnership with the communities, and then we get welcomed into new communities so we can do it again.
Yeah. And is it the same in Europe? Have you seen the same in Europe from a community perspective? It's obviously a very different market, but have you seen that develop? Because obviously bulk in itself develops in some quite remote locations. Are you seeing a similar?
Yeah, 100%. And same as like, Wes said, so when you build in these small communities, they all have histories. Like I worked in northern Sweden as well in the past. Like, the major industry was steel. And, Kristiansand very close to, oil and gas, like, but obviously people want to learn, new, technologies like this next generation jobs. So when you create opportunities like apprenticeship programs or internships, like bringing, college grads like to data centers, either during development stage or operational stage, they learn they can become a fiber technician, they can become, the facility ops engineer or electrician, plumber. Like, I mean, you introduce them like to, variety of opportunities. And I think it's beyond that project only, right? So they can take that skill and they can grow. And, when I started data centers, like I didn't know everything, but, slowly, you climb the ladders and you learn more and more. So we want to provide the same opportunity to people, and that's what they're looking for. So to answer your question, yeah, it's exactly the same. And because they want to put their city on the map, right? So they want to know that they're open to like, these data center companies, like new technology, coming in and developing new skills, like the kids can, grow their families, like you said, Wes, in those towns. So I think, yeah, a lot of similarities to US. So
it's interesting. Like one of the biggest things I'm getting from you guys is you're not just building digital infrastructure platforms. You're building legacies for the future. And I think that one of the most positive changes in this industry in recent years has been the fact that there are operators who are willing to go so far to engage with the community. Speaking from your own perspectives, what can the industry do to kind of make sure that community engagement remains a priority, and what advice would you offer? Personal advice?
Yeah, I love the word that you said there is legacy.
Yeah.
And you need to have that mindset. And I think this is super important. So we're in an industry where, it's the hottest industry in the world, at the moment. And there's a huge amount of demand and there's a huge amount of opportunity. And so you'll have people that come into the industry and they're focused on, I can be in this industry and I can make a lot of money. And that's their focus. And how much money can I make? And I can do it fast. And so then you start to force things to happen that shouldn't happen, right? It's like, hey, I don't care that I have this piece of land that's, half a mile from a school. I can make a lot of money if I can just build it and get the permit, and I don't care the fight that I'm going to be in. And so we have to deal with that. And the way we think, which is back to the legacy, is how is it going to impact this community, not just this year or next year, but a decade from now and 2 decades from now. And that's how we work with the community and how we think through what is going to be the lasting impact? What is going to be our legacy as a company? What are we going to help with this community? We need to have this kind of thought. Otherwise, you get to do one project, you get to do it horribly, and then you're done. No one else is going to want you there, right? This is a thought of how we improve these communities, how we be a great partner, and how we build a legacy, not just for our company, but for that community as well, because each one has, their own identity. And to your point, there's great pride in these communities, always is. And I love that aspect. And they want to put their town on the map, right? They want their village on the map. And so you're helping them do that, but we can't dictate everything. So we spend a lot of time, we're really good. Our team is really good at spending a lot of time of listening when we go. So like I said, every single one of these is different. What are their priorities? What are they looking for us to do? What do they not want us to do? And so we just make sure that there's a lot of listening and intake, and then work collaboratively with the community. Obviously, we build our building the way we have to build our building. We need to operate it the way we operate it because we have SLAs and we have all of these things. But there's a lot of things that you can shape around what the priorities of that community are, but you need to listen to a lot of people, right? It can't be, there's different priorities from different people inside of that. So it is really, how do we create this legacy, and how do you have a long-term vision and you think about the future versus just like, what can I do today? What can I announce today? How do I make money really fast? It needs to be a lot more thought out than just that, and what the lasting impact is.
How about yourself, Phil?
Totally agree. I mean, the listening part, I think, is really important because every community, they have different needs. But when it comes to advice, to answer your question, I think I would look at it in two folds, right? So, I mean, first one, just look at the life cycle of development. I mean, especially in Europe, like when it comes to, permitting, zoning, environmental impact assessments, like there's a long time we spend to prep the site, like ready for any kind of development, right? But during that period, like, I think people need to look at like how much of a disturbance, like, you create, and how can you bring that back, like on other places in the community, right? And as you develop your design, as you start getting into like construction, etc., it opens up other opportunities. So if you look at the past, like when we tried to build things fast, like we tried to bring like thousands of people, like, electricians, like plumbers there. So obviously it creates an economy. But right now, industry demands faster builds, right? So we're moving more OSM, like the offsite manufacturing, like prefab solutions, like vertically integrated models. And sometimes it takes the jobs away from the locality, but there are ways of tackling this, right? So, your offsite manufacturing strategy can be established in a way that maybe you take care of certain things like, outside that community, but you create these assembly centers like locally, right? So, and then you can flat pack things and send them to there, and then, create that kind of an opportunity. And then the second part is, I guess, as you get close to, the operations, side, not just, going and helping the community with parks or, helping schools, as we said, like creating those apprenticeship programs and internship programs, reaching out to college, students ready to graduate, because I'm sure all of them are scared at the moment because of AI. So, I mean, when I read white papers, I'm scared, like, what's going to happen to our jobs, right? So, I think, educating them, like sharing your knowledge with them, and maybe shaping their career, even though they don't end up working in your, facility, you may influence them in a way that they go to the right industry for the future, and they will be ready for the future with AI in our lives.
It's interesting to hear you say that, right? Because Andy and I are involved in an initiative in the UK at the minute that's kind of trying to champion kind of earlier engagement in terms of education. There's a massive skill shortage, obviously lots of kind of opportunity for people to build a brilliant career, to your point as well, Wes. Do you think that engaging at college level, obviously it's important, but do you think actually there's a better opportunity to engage earlier with schools and talk about kind of the role in the infrastructure?
Yeah, so the way we operate with this is, one of the first things we do when we go into a community is we go to the technical schools, the vocational colleges that are training for these skill sets, and we help actually set curriculum, and we put money to work there. So we'll invest money into these, I think into these trade schools, and I think in the Dakotas we're doing like 6 different schools. It was one of the first things we did in Louisiana, because we need, right? And this is where, to your point, you're trying to help kids go, okay, it used to be that I wanted to be a coder, right? That was the thing I was going to do. Or, I mean, it's still, doctors of ways, those types of careers. So you have that, but like we need kids to think about a different career path. And when you show them, hey, you could go through this program, you get an apprenticeship, and instead of 4 years, you're done in 2 years, and you're going to make $120,000 a year, $150,000 a year, right out of your school, and there's really great job opportunities to make a great living, to create a career for yourself. Like, that becomes really appealing. So that's the first place we go, is we go right to those schools, help shape the curriculum. Here's what we need. Here's the skill set, so that again, just it's this partnership. That one is one that we have. We need those skill sets. We need to be able to scale this up, and we're doing it in these small places. So we need to help kind of create the workforce for ourselves. And that's one of the big bottlenecks. I think you all know in the industry, the labor force is a huge bottleneck. So all of us have to solve that, but that's something that we focus on in a huge way.
Yeah. I want to double click on the curriculum part, because I'm a civil engineer by degree, and when I look at my education, and I think it still happens to a degree, like it's so theoretical, like, and then you come into the real business world, and then you see like, okay, I need to develop on this side, I need to develop on that side. So I think what we can do is just reaching out to colleges and influencing their, curriculum in a way that, the grads like come to the, business world more ready. I mean, think about like mechanical engineering, right? So there's so many different paths you can follow as a mechanical engineer. But now I'm looking at last 3-4 years with liquid cooling coming in. Like there's so many interesting challenges like, you're introducing, right? So the CFDs on the air side. So, I mean, if you influence them in that fashion, you can create like this special program. Like people might be ready for like mechanical engineering in data centers, like, and how that works. So I think it was spot on comment on that side. So
I think we're about to be invaded by lunch, so
it sounds
wrap this one up. But obviously we could talk about community all day and everything, but from an event perspective, I don't know if you've been to DataCloud before. Where's my beef?
My third,
But there you go, you heard one. But what's been your key highlight so far, both of you, and what are you looking forward to, and kind of what's this event all about for yourselves?
Yeah. You want me to start? I think this is my sixth, DataCloud, and every year it amazes me, like the number of people, the type of people. We were talking about it before, start recording. I think the full pyramid is here, and I see more and more U.S. presence. Like I think the location is very attractive.
that it is.
But I mean, seeing finance community, like the full supply chain. So it amazes me every year. Like it gets better and better, and it's a great place to connect with colleagues and build partnerships. So the highlights there is just the scale. The scale is just amazing, and where we're heading. And also different type of supply chain coming in, like second, third tier, like they're trying to get into the data center world. So they want to learn, and obviously a lot of people coming in on the events, like speaking, sharing their experiences. So I mean, this is really a good event for the community, and this is the one that I don't miss. Like there's so many of them, as you know, but then definitely the one that I never miss and I enjoy. So it's same so far, very busy. You keep running between meetings and events, but I really enjoy. So
I mean, this is the premier global event, right? This is Europe, Asia, U.S. Everyone here's Africa is here. So it's great to have the full data center community because you get to see everything that's going on around the globe, full stack, as you mentioned, all the suppliers all the way through the financing of the facilities. So like this is the global event, and you get to hear a lot of interesting perspectives and ideas. Plus, I get to meet with all of my suppliers and my customers and companies, people that I hope are going to be customers. Is probably the most important meetings for me. So it's the premier global event. So I love being at this, and it has versus even the 2 years ago that I was here. It's just insane.
Yeah, I think every year it gets bigger. I always say it gives you a great insight into like the evolution of the industry, because you live and breathe this industry and you don't really see what's happening. But every year you come back to the same place and you think there's a few more thousand people, a few more hundred vendors, new faces.
It's much harder to get hotel rooms every year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think we book like months in advance. So
thanks you both for coming on. Like the community's really important to the industry, I think. So I appreciate you both sharing your story. You're doing some great things. Both your companies do some great things. So thanks for your time. You can now go and enjoy the French sunshine.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's it for this episode of the Inside Data Center podcast. Thanks for tuning in. This show is brought to you by DataX and Data Exec, the recruitment partners powering global talent across the data center and digital infrastructure world. If you enjoyed today's conversations, don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. It really helps us grow the podcast community. Stay tuned for more stories, insights, and conversations with the people shaping the future of our industry.